I recently went on a solo trip to Amsterdam. I spent my days wandering the streets, people watching and reflecting, trying to fully immerse myself in the moment. I even made it a challenge to avoid using my phone and social media. And while I didn't nail that challenge 100%, I still felt a profound shift in my mental state. Being alone in a completely new city gave me an insight into something that I had noticed before but never so clearly. Stepping away from my usual routine and environment felt like hitting a reset button in the brain. As the external noise began to fade, my thoughts and emotions became more personal and authentic, more my own, without the usual outside influence. This got me wondering, what if the action of stepping away from everything we know is the essential key to the personal transformation that we are all looking for? What if the only way to actually find yourself is to disconnect entirely? In our day-to-day lives, we are constantly surrounded by different noise, like our email notifications, social media posts, streaming platforms, etc. And it is not just the digital noise, even the people around us. Everyone is constantly sharing their own thoughts and opinions about every little thing, influencing how we view ourselves and the world around us. We absorb so much external information so much of the time that we rarely stop to ask ourselves, what do I think? How do I feel? And what do I really want out of my life? This bombardment of information creates mental clutter, making us unable to focus nor pay attention. In this modern society, we are connected to a system that constantly pulls us in different directions without us having any agency. We go through the motions of our routines, not realizing how much we are shaped by external forces. And so we get stuck in the same cycles where we are living in a reactive mode. The core problem with continually reacting to the world around us is that we lose sight of our own priorities. All the outside noise eventually drowns out our inner voice, preventing us from achieving true clarity and growth, which basically prevents us from being who we really are. Disconnecting from that system allows us to finally pay attention to what's going on inside of us, to hear our inner voice again. Without that disconnection, we remain on autopilot, stuck in the same patterns that don't serve our purpose, unable to figure out what we really want and break free. When we talk about disconnecting, we might think it is just about spending time alone or stepping away from our everyday routine. But true disconnection is actually about both. You need to find solitude and to place yourself in a completely new environment. One without the other will not fully clear the mental clutter that accumulates over time. This is why solo traveling is one of the best things that we could do for our personal growth, as it combines these two aspects of disconnection. Solitude is crucial for disconnection because when we are alone, we are stripped of the distractions, opinions, and expectations of other people. Being in solitude is actually a big challenge because we are forced to face our fears, desires, and insecurities. It is just us with our different thoughts and emotions, things that we might have been avoiding for a long time. When we are alone, we finally sit with ourselves uninterrupted, without someone else's input. We begin to ask ourselves deep and uncomfortable questions. What do I actually care about? Am I truly happy with my life? Are my goals really my own, or are they influenced by others? And it is in this discomfort and the answers that we reach where change and growth happen. Solitude basically provides clarity. When we spend enough time alone, we start to peel back the layers of who we think we should be and start seeing who we truly are. Whenever I get the chance to be alone, usually when meditating or before bed, I notice how my mind initially brings up external thoughts and ideas that I've observed from other people. But as they fade, deep and personal thoughts start to emerge to the surface, bringing with them different emotions that I have been ignoring. Emotions that are very uncomfortable to go through, but necessary to reconnect with myself. So being alone is crucial for understanding ourselves, but I don't think it is enough on its own to spark big changes and a shift in perspective. Our environment shapes us more than we realize. The routines that we have, the places we go, and even the strangers that we pass by every day, they all reinforce in us certain behaviors and ways of thinking. That is why being in a new environment is a second essential part of this connection. When we are in a completely new setting, especially one that feels unfamiliar, we get pushed out of our usual patterns. We begin to see, hear, and experience new things, which breaks us out of the autopilot state. This unfamiliarity forces us to adapt, to reconsider things that we have been taking for granted, and view our lives with fresh eyes. A new environment acts like a mirror, revealing just how much we were influenced by the old one. It offers us a space to let go of the different habits, identities that were tied to our usual surroundings and to step into something new. Just like the discomfort of being alone, the unfamiliarity of being in a new environment is what drives change and growth. This is exactly what I felt in Amsterdam. It was as if I had been stripped of everything familiar to me. I had no home, no attachments, and I wasn't in my comfort zone. I was left with just myself in a completely different setting. For someone who usually doesn't travel alone, it obviously felt uncomfortable at first, but this is exactly the point. The longer I was away, the further my mindset shifted. Day after day, I was thinking in ways that I hadn't before, untethered from my usual worries and expectations. The feelings of discomfort slowly changed into a sense of freedom. A big challenge we face once we are able to disconnect is going back to our normal lives and maintain our sense of clarity and the change of mindset. It is so easy for us to fall back to how things used to be, returning to our comfort zone and our old ways of thinking, if we let that happen. Therefore, you really need to make intentional and conscious changes to your routine and habits. First of all, it is really important to create pockets of solitude in your everyday life. This could be a morning walk, journaling, meditating, or just simply sitting alone for a period of time helps keeping us connected to our inner selves. Remember that the important thing is the state of being alone with no distractions, because that is what keeps our own voice alive and audible. Without these pockets of solitude, our voice is bound to get buried and silenced by all the external influences that we are bombarded with. What I also think is very important is to go somewhere else or try something new at least once a month, something that would add a spark to the mundane. And if that isn't an option for you at the moment, you can at least cultivate a sense of curiosity in your usual routine. This means seeing your daily surroundings in a novel way, asking new questions, trying new things, or shifting your habits slightly. It's about staying open to the possibility that change doesn't only happen out there, but can also happen within the familiar if we allow it. In my opinion, to find ourselves and grow, we need to step away and leave everything behind. It is not about abandoning our lives, it's about taking that essential break. By disconnecting, we reconnect with the parts of ourselves that we have been missing. It is this reconnection that gives us the insights that we need, and then we can go back and integrate this new understanding into our daily lives.